Hello and welcome to GYVOCY Live Episode 10. My name's Glyn Watson and I'm the... my name's Glyn Watson and I'm the Assistant Minister here at Sussex Street Christian Centre, and this lovely, handsome gentleman beside me...
Young gentleman.
What did I say?
Well, you need to say young.
I didn't say old.
No, I know, but I'm just making sure that that's in there, you know.
This young gentleman, handsome gentleman beside me is...
Trevor Casey.
Now, Trevor, over this last week or weeks, we have been talking about possibly renaming this channel.
We have.
I like what you did there. We have. Yes, okay. It hasn't just been you, it has been me. And we also offered out to you to give suggestions.
And did anybody suggest anything?
Not particularly. However, we do want to keep things open for as long as possible until a name that really sort of hits us across the face saying that's an awesome name comes along. However, Trevor came up with one which we want to float it past you.
It's got more of a ring to it.
It's definitely got a ring to it.
Do you want me to tell you what it is?
I'm just admiring the light in this video because I'm watching this just to double check that it's working, right? I'm just admiring my lighting. I've done a great job this week.
You have done a great job, Glyn.
As
always.
Oh!
Is it making more look slimmer? That's the thing.
That'll
be
it's more profile, yes. Anyway, so yes, Trevor, give us the idea. Give us your idea, your suggestion, your name, the potential name that would take over GYVOCY, which stands for Generate Youth, Fail Cloyd Youth Live 10.
Grumpy Ministers Nattering.
Grumpy Ministers Nattering. Well, tell you what, why don't you tell us what you think? If you think it's good...
I know it's hard to believe that I would ever be grumpy.
Not from me. No, it is hard to believe that Trevor would be grumpy because I don't think I've ever really seen him grumpy, apart from when he's hungry. Have I actually really seen you grumpy?
Probably. But generally not when I'm hungry. That doesn't faze me.
Being hungry doesn't faze you?
No. Unlike the other person that we mentioned last night on our...
Oh yeah, she who must not be named. Yes, no, I'm saying that a lot. Yes. Yes. Maybe.
And what's occurring?
That's yours. You keep that one.
No.
Yes. So I've done it again. Right. Calm down. If you happen to like that name, Grumpy Ministers Nattering, then feel free to leave a comment with a yes or a no. Love the name, don't like the name, how about this one?
And we can abbreviate it.
And we...
GMN.
Gone. Grumpy Ministers Disagreeing. God.
Where'd you get God from that?
God.
I'm still lost.
Oh, that's gommed, isn't it? It's been a long day, hasn't it? Yeah, Ministers Nattering.
G-M-N.
Yeah, gumn.
Gum.
So it's not Grumpy Old Ministers Nattering. No. Okay.
Because you're not old.
I'm not.
There you go. Anyway, what are we doing in the show today, Glyn?
Trying to get my words out. For me, that's my focus for the rest of the show.
No, yes.
No, maybe. So in this show we have a rooted question or two rooted questions. I'm going to be sharing my story very similar to what Trevor did last week with his. We're then going to have a bit, well, I don't know if Trevor has any questions based on what I have shared by my story. Then he's more than able to do that. Yeah, and then there is one or two videos that I want to show you based on last week's challenge, because Trevor, I'm going to leave it for now. For now.
Dun dun dun
dun dun dun. We really need sound effects with one of those little things that we just press and it just happens.
You've got one by now.
No, by now, yeah. I'm working on it.
Week 10.
Working on a budget here. So let's start with a rooted question. Now, these are just basic conversation starters, but we discussed them for a bit. Is that okay? All right, so if I go first, then you go first.
Yep,
Is there something I've missed?
No.
I don't think there's anything I've missed. If there's anything I've missed, then please leave it in the comments.
We've said where we are,
Who we are, what we're going
when
to do,
it is, what
the
we're
name
gonna do.
suggestion.
Yeah, that's everything.
That's everything so far.
And we're still wearing the same clothes. Oh no, that was a
What?
different video.
We've pretty much been in front of the camera all day, and we're on the verge of losing our minds, okay? Because just focusing on a little lens for the majority of the day it wears after a while, doesn't it?
does.
But we're happy to be here. So my question
Go for it.
to you
To me.
is as follows: What? No. We've done that one already. I thought I got rid of them all.
I thought we
Sorry. Well, yeah, that's it. But that one I missed. So I'm going to.
Pretty lights, by the way. I just noticed that.
What, behind the script? It's getting better. I told you.
Very nice.
Let's do this one. Hopefully this isn't one that we've had before. Oh, we've done that. This is funny. I'm on.
Have you put them all back in?
I hope not. Okay, that'll do. That's
Got
fine.
one now.
Here we go. What, Trevor, would you describe as a productive day? Productive day. What would you consider a productive day?
I think a productive day would be a day when I felt like I'd achieved something.
So just swap productive out for achieved. What does that mean?
Says the person who earlier on, when he was asked a similar type of question, just said epic. So Glyn was asked earlier on today for one of our other videos, how would you describe your best ever day? And he thought for a moment and said epic. So
It's a closed question.
But so
It
that's,
doesn't say describe.
well, I'm not
Well,
describing it.
Go on then. Finish your thought. I've jumped in yet again.
What was the question again?
What would you consider a productive
What do I
day?
consider a productive day?
Yeah.
So
What would you describe as a productive day?
Oh,
That's like
describe.
Oh, did you miss that when I read it last time?
Well,
Describe as a productive day. How would you describe
the
it?
productive day.
Yes.
A productive day is when you. Yeah, but I still say it's achieving something. So what do I mean? Let me explain a little bit. So, in the course of my job, so I'm a Baptist minister, and
Keep going. Sorry.
we have an awful lot of different events and activities that happen even while I'm trying to speak to the camera.
It's outlined. Somehow
And
it's all
it
got
can
a bit
be
squiff.
slightly off-putting. But apart from that,
That's productive. I've been productive just now. Go on, carry on.
so during the course of a day, there might be several different activities occurring. So, for example, food bank might be happening, and there might be another event in the building as well. And in addition to that, I might be trying to prepare a talk or a sermon or something like that.
Yeah.
And then somebody might call in to see me, or that they want to come and chat. And so a non-productive day is when I'm then kind of going from one thing to another, trying to keep all of these different activities going. And sometimes it feels at the end of the day like I haven't actually achieved anything. So a productive day is when I can go home and think, well, all the things that I set out to do, I have actually been able to complete. So
And there are many ways of achieving your day's goals, isn't there?
Yeah.
Because some people are able to keep all of the to-do list per se, or for example, in their minds. Some people like to write it down and physically check off the things that they've done, so it's a bit of a visual aid to go.
and some of
"I've
us
done
don't
it."
bother writing them.
Some people, well, that's what I'm saying. They keep it in their mind, or they write it in their diaries and all that sort of thing. But yeah, a productive day is having set out, and to coin a term that Trevor used, is to having achieved all your daily goals.
Yeah. What about you?
Well, I thought I just pretty much answered it.
Oh, right, okay.
Sorry, I sort of fed off what you were saying because I
That's
don't
fine.
think I can expand on it anymore.
Oh, well, there you go. It must have been a very good
It was-
explanation then.
It was incredible. But if you want to add or you have a different opinion,
I've done that one. Look at that. That's the one
Well, it's not my
the
fault.
very
You put-
one that we had
so
before.
I'm not the only one
No,
who
you're not.
put them there. Thank
How
you.
would you describe the best day of your life so far?
Epic.
There you go. You something?
So, no, please read that out again because that's okay. You tell me if you would have answered this any differently. The word that you would have used may have been different, but the way the question is answered asks for a single word. How would you describe the best day of your life so far? That really just begs a one word answer, like amazing.
Okay.
Sorry, but it's
Don't be
not
sorry.
much of a conversation starter, I don't think.
There we go. Let's put those two
But
behind
it
there.
was a good question.
We're going to go for the next card, and
it's
it
your turn,
says...
isn't it? Go on then. No, oh, it better not be the same type of question.
Oh, no, this is even better.
Oh, it's even better. Go on then.
What would you change about where you live?
Oh, that is a good one. That is a good one. I'd have a Starbucks closer because I'm, as much as I like Costa.
Yeah.
That's such a middle class thing to say, isn't it? What would I change about, well, being on the North Wales coast? In terms of a location, it's absolutely gorgeous. And being in Rhyl, you are pretty much in the middle of all of the tourist destinations on the west, the big cities on the right or east, which would be Liverpool, Chester, Manchester. You're pretty close to everything.
Yep.
So I wouldn't change location, but what I would change about where we are, if I was on the council, I don't know. Because it's beyond my. What would I change? What would I change? The one-way system's terrible in Rhyl.
So how would you improve it? By having two-way?
I'm just saying it's rubbish.
Oh.
I don't know how I would change it. I haven't given it much thought.
Well, that's the question.
I know.
What would you change
What
about
would
where
I
you live?
change about where I live? If I had the power to do it, or if I was able to implement any change, I would love to be able to change the reputation of the area.
Mm-hmm. Okay. fair enough.
Because Rhyl used to be a tourist hotspot many, many years ago. I mean, the reason why my dad and my mum met each other was because my nan and granddad and his brothers, that's my dad now, and his brothers used to come down to North Wales on the Prestatyn coast and have holidays. Because it was the place to be, and a lot of people still visit, but they go to Towyn or they in Kimmel Bay and they go to the caravan parks there, and then they descend on Rhyl because of the arcades and the amusements and stuff like that. And there was a lot of things on the front, but over the years, because of policy changes, money and all that sort of thing being taken out, businesses going out of business, leaving and big companies leaving the area, and there's so many things that have contributed to the not complete downfall of Rhyl, but to the decline in Rhyl, that I would love to find the root cause of it. But I think that's why we as church, or for Trevor and I, we minister to people living in this situation who may be in a real dire situation. I mean, Food Bank is just a class example of how the needs have changed of the people who live in Rhyl, and we can only meet those needs to a certain degree with things like Food Bank. They're the physical needs. Spiritual needs are here all the time for people who have spiritual needs, which I believe everyone does have spiritual needs.
Indeed.
That's a very tough question, and it's a very big question to ask and to reflect on. You could say things like, I changed the seafront, or I could add It's too big of a question, I think, to really answer off the cuff, because I think I'd need a bit more time to think about it.
Okay.
But if you've got any suggestions, if you're from North Wales or Rhyl in particular, or just wherever you are, how about you just taking 5 minutes and thinking, honestly, if you had the power to change anything in your area for the good of all that were there, and that was achievable realistically if people worked together, what would that be? Because we could all pie in the sky stuff, but something that's realistically feasible.
Okay.
What do you think?
Well, so this is what the question says.
Have I completely missed it?
What would you change about where you live?
Are you talking about the house now?
Well,
I'm living in?
that's how I read it. You read
Oh, is it?
slightly differently, because you went about the area, which is fantastic. But for me, it would be, well, I'd have it repainted. I'd have an extra bedroom. I'd have an increased sized lounge, and so I'd redo the layout of our house, I think.
You'd have the taps turned the right way around, wouldn't you? Sorry, that's an inside joke. We're sorry. Well, I'm sorry anyway.
You don't need to be sorry. So yes, the where you live bit, I think Glyn's right. I'm trying to brush over now. So Glyn's right in that it could be the area, and Rhyl sadly does have a bit of a reputation, which it is what it is. Somebody's coming.
Who is it? Ta-ta.
Thanks, Ian.
We are having at the moment our building not refitted but renovated and refurbished in a few areas, and that was our contractor and member of the church, Ian from Orchard Homes.
Ian Hardwick.
Ian,
but other contractors are available.
Yes, are available, and doing a grand job. And
he is.
Yeah.
So he's just going. So bye, Ian.
Bye. Okay, so where was I? Where were we?
Where we were living.
Yes.
So I think both are true. I'm really, really looking forward to the changes, hopefully, that will happen around about our church building, because there are some plans for demolition of the buildings surrounding our church, and I think it's an exciting time for us as a church, both physically as a building but also as church people, to see the possibilities of what God might do in and around our church building. So, which is good.
Excellent. No, that's exciting. That is exciting. And the seafront, things are happening there, and they've been happening for quite a while, but it's exciting
the waves
times.
Keep coming in and the waves keep going back out.
Like the tide. Well done, good job. I think it's time for the first video, if that's okay. Now, if you remember from last week, Trevor and I had the cup. Basically, we had ping pong balls, and we had to throw them at each other and try and catch them in a cup that was hanging from our mouths. Trevor was the only one who succeeded to get one in my cup. So he was the one who got the point. My throws were terrible last week, but we challenged anyone, especially the person who had challenged me to the Marmite. To do that, and I said they've got off lightly, but
they did send the video in.
They did send a video in, and here it is. Let me just show you that.
Are you ready? Ball number one. Ball number one. Ooh. Almost. Ball number two. Oh! Almost. Whee! Hey!
Okay, so both of them managed within 3 shots to get the ping pong ball into the cup, which is brilliant.
That's very good.
It's very good. It's
Round
better than what we did, so well done. Thank you very much for sending your videos in. If you would like to see, I told you, as soon as if we get a video in, we will show it. If you would like to participate in any of the challenge that we set you, then record yourselves doing it like these have done. So thank you to Jen and to Richie and William from Widnes. We may see another video from Jen a bit later.
I'm not sure we'll have time.
Well, if we move things on quickly, we might just, okay, because this is going to be a good one. So, it is now time probably for... Is there something else? Is there something you need to add or would like to add? No? Okay, should I give my testimony or my story now?
Yeah.
And then we can move on to... my story. Trevor last week, he spoke about how his faith journey, and that's the way that I would like to describe it as well, because I think that's pretty much sums up my journey, is that it has been a journey of some faith or another. And I was pretty fortunate in the fact that I was born into at least half a family that was of faith. But I think that might be unfair as well. That isn't to say that my two sets of grandparents and my mum and dad didn't have similar faiths, but they just approached things differently. But I was mostly, in terms of my faith, influenced by my mum's side of the family. And I went to church when I was younger. I was taken to church. Yes, it was a Methodist church. That doesn't necessarily matter as much, only that the seats that I was forced to sit on were the old pews, the wooden pews, and they had this really pointless piece of red carpet that gave no comfort whatsoever to the cold wood that you had to sit on. And the language, and granted, I was, from birth upwards to about 11, I used to do this every Sunday, go to church, and my mum would set me maths questions, and I would sit there and do maths questions, and then I'd be sent off to Sunday school, and I used to play up a lot in Sunday school. And then at the age of 11, I turned around and said, I don't even understand what they're saying, because the language that they're using, which is quite high and complicated Welsh, I just wasn't understanding what they were talking about. At least I didn't think I did. So I decided, or I asked my mum, look, I don't get it. I don't want to go to church anymore. And to be fair, my mum respected that, and she said, okay, you don't have to go. And I say this very loosely, but the damage had been done. So for the next 4 and a bit years, I was growing up. I got into roller hockey, got pretty good, where I got to the point of playing for Wales on a few occasions. Playing ice hockey, I was doing like skate park skating, aggressive skating, and there were two different sides of me as a young person, where I was one way at the skate park and one way with my family, and one way in school, which didn't particularly work very well because I was so inconsistent. I started losing track of who I was, and when any of those three groups met and converged into one place, and it happened a few times, who do I show myself to be?
Okay, yeah.
Who I had to make a choice. Who do I choose to be in that situation? And I caught myself on a few occasions really messing a lot of relationships up because of that, which really made me start thinking about who I was. I then, as part of, and I think it was because I didn't know who I was and my particular style and mannerisms and all that, I was pretty much bullied, because people would begin to notice I was actually quite inauthentic.
Yep.
I was a bit bizarre in their eyes. Which it's looking back, it kind of makes sense why. But yeah, it's still painful to think about, because in some senses I may have put myself in that position.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the time I just wanted to be accepted. The things I liked to do, I had to fit in with the crowd that did them. So I became the person in order to be liked by each group. Now at the age of 13, I think it was 14, I changed hockey teams from Rill to St. Asaph. And at this point I was proper gone with it, because I'd really got into the skating side of things. Back when the skate park first opened in Rill, I was there skating that first day. It was absolute bonkers. It was brilliant. And the sort of people I was with got me into a lot of trouble as well, and I was doing stuff. So I changed hockey teams, not because of that, but there were two separate lives, remember? And the hockey coach at St. Asaph took me to one side and said, okay, you need to sort your attitude out a little bit. And then I was in the changing room with the lads, getting ready for a training session one day, and essentially I was so used to the changing room sort of banter with a lot of swearing and all that sort of thing, boys being boys and talking about girls and all that sort of thing, but these guys weren't. They were actually kind to one another. And then when we got out onto the pitch, there was no swearing or effing and jeffing, anything like that. If a mistake was made, or a tackle was made that was a bit inappropriate or out of order, and it got me questioning what's with these guys, what's going on here, why are they nice? So I happened to ask the goalie, and he turned around and said, well, we don't think we should be swearing. I don't think we should be kind to one another, because I think that gets the most out of us.
Mm-hmm.
But also it demonstrates our love for Jesus. And I was like, oh. And then a few weeks passed and I thought, you know what, I think I need to explore this a bit more. And then I got invited to youth group. So I went to youth group.
But in St. Asaph? In
St. Asaph. And I think within 4 months I'd been invited to go to, this was at the age of 15 now. At the age of 15 and a half, I was invited to go to camp. And I remember Andy Hughes. He's been here. He's had we've interviewed him here. He talked about racism. He was speaking, and I was there listening to him, and he was talking about the cross and all of the stories that led up to this talk about the cross, the way that Jesus died and why he died. Everything I'd pretty much learned in Sunday school when I was younger, it was as though it was like the words that I didn't understand then all made sense. It all came flooding back, and it all started clicking, and it all corresponded to this one great feeling of emotion, of complete and utter devastation on my part. I remember the camp so vividly. It was in Llanallgo on Anglesey. It was the year before all the tents blew away. And as soon as he finished he didn't even finish the talk. He was about 3/4 of the way through, and something just hit me. Something he said just hit me, and I just burst out crying. I was a mess. I was an absolute mess. They had to I walked out in the corridor, and I was an absolute mess. I was crying into my knees. I was on the floor. Got up pacing, still crying. Someone came out to see whether I was okay. I was obviously not alright. I'd disturbed the meeting at this point. And then someone explained to me what's going on, and that is, one, God loves you. God knows who your identity is, and the identity He has given you is Son. you don't have to continue in this split sort of personality character, this chameleon of a person that you've been. Just be the person God has made you and be yourself. Now that threw me a little bit, because I knew that was something that I'd been caught on before. The other thing was I realised, okay, this love that God has for me, that Jesus died the most gruesome death anyone could really dream of.
Mm-hmm.
And that was done for me and for everyone. It was the process of crucifixion that really struck me, and that God went to that extent to demonstrate his love for me. And then my life has never been the same since. Since then I went to college, so I was 15 and a half. This was the year GCSEs, and I'd got my GCSEs. I did incredibly well, considering. And I went to college, and for the first 2 years of college, my nickname, or the way that people described me to others, was the smiley guy, because I was always bubbly. I was just so comfortable in who I was, and nothing fazed me. I was just completely at peace with who I was. That I was just genuinely joyful about, I've got a relationship with God, and I want to share that with people, and I want to demonstrate that that this joy, firstly without having to say a thing, and that was by putting a smile on my face and just being a general joy and putting smiles on other people's faces. So I went through college, went through my degree, which was in culinary arts, and I wanted to be a chef, but and I did my degree in culinary arts. Halfway through, I basically decided, you know what, I don't like this anymore. The story runs a little deeper than that, because I was hunted by a lecturer in college, in a good way, for a job in a hotel. The hotel will remain nameless, and so will he. So I went to work for this individual, moved away from home while still doing my degree, got absolutely, in some senses, abused. And I thought I really wanted to be a chef, but God had other plans. And I remember waking up at about 6 o'clock on a Sunday morning, being away from church, being away from my family, completely miserable, having gone to bed at 2 o'clock after cleaning the kitchen from the previous night's service, and then waking up at 6. I get a chopping board, walk into the kitchen, get a chopping board, get some onions, and as soon as I put my knife through that first onion, God says, get out of this place and come home. It was that obvious to me. It was almost, or it was like so clear, get out of this place. So I drop the knife, I go to my boss at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm pretty much waking them up. It's because they lived on site, I lived on site. I knocked on his door, woke him up and said, this is my verbal resignation, I'm giving you 2 weeks notice. So then I work the 2 weeks notice of hell, because that's what often happens when you give notice. They make you do all the horrible stuff. I pack up all my stuff on the last day, and I'm driving home, and it's as though this massive weight has been lifted off my shoulders. And I remember saying in tears, I'm coming home. Now, I'm coming home was not meaning I'm coming home to North Wales or coming home to Rel or to family members. I'm coming home to church. I'm coming home to the people who loved me, who cared for me, who wrote letters to me while I was away working. And I really appreciated that. They, you know, so that's up to about the age of 19 and a half. So I'm year 2 of my degree. Yeah. God's calling me out of catering. You know, I said I was on my way home. That was on the Friday. By the Sunday I was back in church. And I was offered 2 jobs. 2 half-time jobs. One as a youth worker in my home church. And the other half-time job was the Valley Mission Project, which I'm still doing unto this day. Now you tell me that God doesn't have a plan or a purpose, and I will tell you that story, and you cannot write it in the way that it worked out, because God does have a plan for me, for the way that I am, for the person that I am, for my personality that he's given me, and I need to be comfortable in that personality despite other people's opinions of me. I cannot be anyone else but myself. So that isn't to say I haven't got room to grow, and but so that was me at 19 and a half, almost 20. I think within a year and a half I was challenged by someone to think about going into actual ministry, meaning go and train to be a minister. And at the age of 21 I said, I'm not sure about this, and do I really need the hassle of becoming a minister? Because can I just zoom out to Trevor, because his face there is like do I really need the bother and the stress and the heart of being a minister? So I ran away from what I believe God's calling on my life was for 9 years. For pretty much 9 years. And now so at the age of 29, which I'm now 32, that's not appropriate. I don't know why I'm pointing at you. So many things coming to mind. At the age of 20, let's say 27, is it appropriate to talk about I can only share what I think is appropriate, and I don't think it's fair. That's fine. Sorry, I know this is live, and so at the age of 28 I get talking to Trev here, and he said, you need to think about going through for ministerial recognition, which is training to be a minister. And I'm like, do you know what, I think you're right, let's explore this. And then within 4 or 5 months I've started that process, or I have started the ministerial training process, having gone through all the church meetings, being accepted by the church, being accepted by the regional ministers and all that sort of thing. And then the college, I've done my 3 years, well, technically not my full 3 years, but I am on my way to completing my 3rd year. But I am technically now allowed to be ordained as a minister.
Yay!
And start my... Can I just give one bugbear that has followed me my entire ministry? And I'm using my entire ministry in this way, because I don't think, despite what people have said, and I'm not the only one who thinks this or has experienced this, is that although I'm doing youth work, that is still ministry. A legitimate, important ministry.
Your whole life is a ministry.
Yes. From a point of view of a church, the amount of times it's been said, so you're graduating to proper ministry now.
Rubbish.
It's infuriating.
Utter rubbish.
It is infuriating.
If you are a faithful servant with children's work, youth work, doing the flowers on a Sunday, doing the various other groups and activities that go on, in my opinion, for what it's worth, those things are all ministry, as is raising your children and various other things.
Yeah.
So this idea that we are in a privileged position, okay, so I understand that, we get paid for what we do, but to then grade different types of ministry, I feel, is wrong. I don't believe that's what God has called us to. I believe that youth work is actually more important and more challenging, but definitely more important than work in other areas of the church. Let's put it that way. I will leave you to pick out the bits.
You'll probably get more comments on that one comment than anything else. But...
because I'm passionate about it, because
Yeah.
I believe in young people and children and
Yeah.
the work involved with them. But yeah, that's a completely different matter. Sorry, Glyn.
No, it's okay, because I want to bring you into this because I think this is interesting, is that, okay, so we have the debate that I see happening is that churches want young people in.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think I see it as part of my ministry, and it's going to cause issues. Okay. Well, at least it possibly can. Is the way I see it is because of I told you I'm going to have words struggling to get my words out. Is that in every adult there's a child.
Yep.
Just
look at me.
Just wanting, just craving, either to be acknowledged or to be let out, because either they've had to grow up too soon and take responsibility that really wasn't their responsibility to take on because of certain situations in their life, or they've just forgotten how to have fun.
Yep.
Or so, despite my age, and yes, you have to mature. But you can be childlike and still be mature.
Yes.
Now, and I think that's why a lot of people, and I've had this, I've said this a few times, I don't necessarily think I've done a good job unless someone says at a youth club or at a youth evening that, oh, you're a bit weird, aren't you? Because to me, it's like, well, I don't want to be that person who... I don't want to be that person who just sort of fits in and then is kind of like, I don't know. I want to be myself, and if that means being different, then fine, be different, be yourself. I mean, I could name names of people who have called me weird in the last week. Whatever, that's fine. But that's only because I'm not considered normal.
Compliant.
I'm not compliant, or yeah, I mean, I'm not off the wall sort of weird, but but the reason why I'm weird is because I'm a 32-year-old guy who gets down dirty and plays the games and really gets involved, and I'm a bit excitable when it comes to playing around and all that sort of thing. What, am I saying all the wrong things?
Not at all.
So good. Just to close on this, then, is that Andy Hughes has a saying, is that
I think you've got plenty of time to talk about this, Glyn.
Growing up is overrated.
It is, because you have to be mature.
You're missing my point. Is that you can be mature and still connect with your inner child.
Yes, being childlike without being childish.
Yes, there's a vast difference between being childish and being childlike. And sometimes you do have to be the adult, and sometimes you can be the child. You can let yourself go. Like that. Do you know what? You were pulling that face, and you were thinking, I thought you were cocking a leg as well.
No.
So if you have any questions for me that you would like more answers to, then please leave a comment. That's obviously not everything. A lot of things have influenced and had an effect, and all the experiences that I've had in life has shaped me the way I am. and it's the same for Trevor. He's been very selective in what he has shared, but if you've got any questions for Trevor, then please ask. Anything that you'd like us to discuss, as long as it's appropriate to us and we won't be disclosing anything personal, I'm sure we'll be happy to do that, and we're not that grumpy.
I've got a question.
Go on then.
When and how did you know that God had called you to be a minister?
How? You want the honest answer?
Yeah.
Well, it has to be honest.
Yeah.
But it's something that I haven't necessarily... okay, I just got to spit it out. Back in the days when I was working at my previous church, the previous minister decided he was going to retire, and which left the church in a place where we had no minister for a while.
Here we go. This is a good word. Interregnum.
Well, I didn't want to use the word because
nobody knows what it means.
Because I didn't want to have to explain it. But yes, it's the
the
in-between bit between having a minister leave and having a minister. You're left with that sort of liminal space. Now I'm using a word that they may know this. It's the in-between space between not having a minister and having a minister. And I was the youth worker, and I was preaching a lot more because there was no minister. I was the employee, but also there were other people preaching. And it was in this time I was, and I genuinely thought that I should put my name forward to be considered to be the pastor. And I'm not going to say the next thing.
Okay.
Because that is inappropriate. So, yes. That's when I knew. Because it was such a strong thing. And the things happened that were out of my control, that happened too soon for me to really, I'm leaving it there.
Okay.
I knew that I should have gone through for ministerial recognition. I didn't because of what happened.
Okay. So quite a journey then.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on, because that's
yeah.
I hadn't realised the significance of that.
It's okay. Well, that's why I said you want me to be honest.
Okay. So my apologies.
No. This is the thing. We're open, but in that I don't want to implicate other people.
Yeah, that's fair.
So this is why it has to be very carefully.
Okay.
Good. Okay.
Let's move on then.
Let's move on. It is time for.
No, there is no. Look, it's nearly 10 to 5.
It's worth it.
And all that are tuning
go.
into GYVOCY. I got it out. I am Jen, the face behind the name that challenged Glyn to eat a large spoonful of Marmite. Now, I just watched your latest episode, and Trevor, 40 minutes in, you challenge me. Well, you challenge my lads who are aged 7 and 8 to take part in the cup game, but I think challenging them with the Marmite might be a little bit cruel on my mummy's heart, particularly that I'm the one who, you guessed it, loves it, and they hate it. So I feel that will be a bit mean. But, Marmite, Glyn, you made a nasty little comment after Trevor. And you said, if the lads only do the cup and ping pong ball challenge, they get off lightly. Now, because I am a fair woman and I know that you want to get me back, I knew that your kryptonite was Marmite. And because you know me well, you also know my kryptonite. Now, I've eaten all sorts of things. I've eaten caterpillars, I've eaten cow intestines, chicken feet, all sorts of stuff when travelling. But there is one thing that I cannot stand, and it doesn't agree with my body. And after 3, you're going to yell it out because I know you know what it is. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. It's... Yes, garlic. Me and garlic are not good friends. If I eat something with garlic in, it sticks to me for days. And I am really conscious that I end up stinking like a dragon if I eat garlic. So, Glyn, because I don't want to be known as the girl who got off lightly with a challenge, and I know you said vengeance is the Lord and all that, but I know as you have been teased week by week by the whole Marmite thing, that it's probably my turn. And I can take it. I can take a challenge as well as give one. So I did some research on garlic, and supposedly the quantity that you should not really go over in a daily amount is about 2 to 3 cloves. Now, you mentioned that you felt you'd totally overeaten not just your daily supply of Marmite, but your life supply. So you have also said that for 3 days afterwards you suffered badly. So to equal this up, I will eat 3 days worth of garlic for you to get your own back. So I have pre-prepped this. So I have, if you have a look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 stinky pieces of garlic that as I have been leaning over them, they're making my eyes run and my hands stink. So to get your own back, I hope you enjoy me trying to eat 9. So are you ready? Can you count me down? Are you ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Oh man, oh my goodness, it is strong. My tongue is like on fire. 1 down. 2 down. 3 down. Oh my goodness. 4. My mouth is like on fire. 5. Why did I say 9? I tell you what, at work tomorrow, I'm going to stink and I'll need my mask and my visor. Oh. Ooh, 4 to go. My eyes are watering. Oh, that was a big one. Oh. 3 more. My eyes are going. 2 more. Oh man, look at the size of that one. Oh man. 1 more. Whew. You can see a tear coming. My nose is going. Oh. Done. 9. Hardcore. Oh, my nose is streaming. So, Trevor, you said you hated furry fruit. So I challenge you, I can't speak, my mouth is so on fire, to eat a full punnet of gooseberries. Ha!
Well, there you go. What do you think, Trev?
I'm shocked. First of all, well done for eating 9 cloves of garlic in one sitting.
Can I tell her what you said in the
No. I did say I could probably do that. But anyway, that's not the point. For each of us, where there is something that we don't like, I'm sure it is a challenge to then eat it. And so well done to Jen
Yes.
for eating all of that. I guess it's probably...
It wasn't. She did it on her own back, as she explained. I didn't force her. She did it on her own back. But well done. It's something that I would struggle to do, even though I like garlic a lot more than Marmite. I'm not even suggesting I'll do it, but well done. I mean, seriously,
well
I was there like this going, oh, how has she managed this? How has she managed this? But you did. Great job. On to the challenge which you set though, Jen.
Sadly, I went to Morrison's on Saturday and they didn't have any gooseberries. But then today, oh, happy day, Glyn said to me at lunchtime, oh, I'm just nipping out to Sainsbury's. Yeah, I knew you'd go
There's
to.
tin of gooseberries. The problem being is, and I think this is the important thing here, is I have a coin.
You've got a coin?
I've got a coin. And they're in syrup. I think this one's a little easy because there's a bit of sugar in that, so it'll take the bitterness away, won't it? Or the sharpness, whatever.
Yeah.
There's a 2p coin.
Okay. Not sure where so this has not been rehearsed or discussed.
No, you don't have to eat the 2p piece. You'll be happy to find, okay?
That was a really awkward way of getting that back on the there, was it?
Yeah, that's it. Okay, just so that I don't smash the glass. Okay, I'm going to flip a coin. Now, if it lands on heads, Trevor doesn't eat the can of gooseberries. If it lands on tails, he does have to eat the can of gooseberries.
Okay. I can see there's going to be a butt in this.
There is a big but.
I knew there would be.
And the but is, if it lands on heads, he doesn't have to eat the can. But when gooseberries actually become available for fresh... See his face? Can I zoom in on his face? I want to zoom in. When they become available fresh...
Can I not just...
Then
I
you
can't
will
eat
eat a punnet. Or as much of a punnet as possible.
Yeah.
Which, if you don't like them, you will just... a handful.
I might have
Actually, tell you what, you've challenged a punnet, Jen. If you're willing to negotiate with Trev...
Let's just open these.
No! Let's cast lots, biblic. You really don't like gooseberries.
I really don't like gooseberries. Can I have apricots instead? I don't like them either, but... Right, come on then. Here we go.
Heads is fresh gooseberries when they become available.
Yes.
And it'll be coming up in the next weeks, I'm sure.
Okay.
Okay. Or tails, and you eat the can of gooseberries in syrup.
Okay, go for it.
What do you think it's going to land on? And just so that you can see, it's not a double-sided coin. Do you want to check? There you go.
I believe you.
Okay. What are you hoping for, Trev? Neither, aren't you? You're hoping it lands like that.
Okay, if it does land like that...
If it doesn't land like that, then you have to eat both.
No, if it lands like that, I'm out of here.
Okay, here we go. Ready? It's a heads! It's a heads! Trev, that was perfect.
It didn't land on the cushion, so I think we have to do it again.
It did land on the cushion. It fell off the cushion. So, guys, it was heads. I'm afraid, and I'm sorry for Trevor, but he has to eat. Oh, do you know what? I'm leaving it there. That is the most awkward way of putting that back. But anyway, guys, this is the end of the show. If you've enjoyed it and would like to get notifications as to when we are going to be... Oh no, you don't, do you? Ha 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 ha! You almost. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. If you happen to like our show, then please consider subscribing, hitting the notification bell, and you will get automatic notifications when we go live next time or we upload any form of content to our channel. Trevor, you got anything to say?
Please help.
Please help. Call 0800 00 1066.
Please pray.
By calling 0800 00. Yes. Please pray for Trev to have the stomach to be able to handle
Oh my goodness.
all those gooseberries, the hairy fruit.
It's wrong, isn't it? It's just wrong.
It is not wrong. Marmite is wrong. Marmite is
Well, I'm with you on the
awful.
Marmite as well, mate.
Yeah, ooh.
Don't like Marmite.
You don't like Marmite either. You could overtake me in the disgusting challenges by smothering about 10 gooseberries in Marmite.
Oh, goodness.
That's like...
Can you... Oh, no! No!
That's like terrible idea, but it would be so funny. Anyway, guys, that's the end of the show. Hope you liked it. That's enough from me, Glyn and Trev.
And Trev and Glyn. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Goodbye.